The First Amendment in the US Constitution explicitly stipulates Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. This is the First Amendment we're talking about, the cornerstone of American democracy, the pride of the United States, often paraded around the globe as the beacon of autonomy and freedom. But apparently there is a very bold line drawn when the same freedom is utilized to criticize Israel. This has always been the case, but the strings were usually pulled discreetly. Except now, the cat is out of the hat. Since Donald Trump assumed office earlier this year, he was clear that protests that unfolded in US universities during the Israeli genocide in Gaza would not happen again, and vowed to go after protesters. This was the first warning sign that put freedom of speech at risk. What followed was a snowball effect, with the circumstances surrounding the inherent right rolling rapidly toward a dangerous route. The next decision by the Trump administration was to target US colleges with funding cuts to curb campus protests under the pretext of fighting anti-Semitism. Yes, I know, the typical excuse. The University of Columbia was hit with an approximately $400 million budget cut, saying its response to protests was insufficient despite the university's crackdown on the protests that took place on campus. I mean, what else could they have done? Kill all protesters? Other institutions like Harvard and MIT are facing similar pressure. But that wasn't enough. Of course it isn't, as this is the Trump administration we're talking about. The federal immigration authorities arrested Mahmoud Khalil, a Palestinian activist and a Columbia graduate. Mahmoud is a green card holder, making him a legal permanent resident, yet he was detained on charges linked to pro-Palestine protests on campus. American authorities claimed that his actions fall under provisions of the Immigration and Nationality Act, which allows the deportation of non-citizens if they are deemed to pose serious adverse foreign policy consequences. Let's break this down together. Students in the US were exercising their inherent right to protest peacefully against a genocide. Despite the peaceful nature of the protest, they were constantly demonized in American media and faced repeated assaults from Israeli mobs, who would often physically and verbally assault Palestinian protesters. And that's not all. The protests also faced heavy police crackdown. Now, after relaying all of these facts, can anyone seriously buy that the protests were the problem and that these activists pose serious adverse foreign policy consequences? I mean, a non-government employee trash-talking the Polish foreign minister doesn't? A lobbying group channeling hundreds and hundreds of millions to sway public opinion and impose a foreign narrative is excused without even a designation as a foreign agent? And just so that you know, Mahmoud was recently transferred from New York to a Louisiana private prison as a retaliatory measure, limiting his family and attorney access. Following his arrest, Trump promised it's the first of many. And social media accounts of the White House rejoiced, sharing the news of the arrest with a caption that began with, "Shalom, Mahmoud." I don't even know what to say to that. What is really surprising, however, is the lack of any meaningful pushback from the American population. I mean, yes, Democrats held little cute signs in the Congress, but how are people still silent while their fundamental rights are basically getting eroded day by day? The US government is actively employing its foreign tactics on the American people, with all the crackdowns, censorship, and arbitrary arrests. And trust me when I tell you, it will not stop here. Trump said it himself. Soon even the mere criticism of the Israeli occupation will be illegal in the land of the free. Welcome to the United States of America.